Hello and welcome. This is Kristen from the Online Selling Show, and I am here now with another segment of the I Need to Be Fired. I have been in this business for 22 years. For the last 12, probably mainly 15 years, I have been in what's known as the wholesale business model. And my husband and I are looking to retire in the next 2 to 3 years, and I'm creating a secondary business, which is what this channel is based on, to create us with a part-time income in our retirement, but I'd still like it to be a six-figure income. So I am here bringing you all of the growth of what it's taking to get to that level, and I welcome you to come along for the journey. And today's segment here, this special segment, is talking about why I need to be fired. So to give you some background, I went to an estate sale yesterday, and I had him and hauled about going, and I pretty much convinced myself in the last minute to go. And I know one problem that I had was I was too emotionally attached to this item. I love Fisher Price people, and I love all the little figures and the sets. There's a nostalgia, but it's it's a year-round product. There's a whole collector mentality to it. So I went there already like it was mine. It was mine. It didn't matter who, what, where, why. It was mine. So that was my first mistake, was I was too emotionally attached. And then when I got there, I made mention that, like, I basically, as any estate sale, you hoard everything up into a pile and it's yours. You know, your name is on it, type of thing. And that's ownership that I've already taken on it. And my mistake at that point was I didn't go through the boxes at any point. I mentioned that she had a real fixed set of rules, like you couldn't bring in bags and boxes and whatever. And there was already this stuff in their own box. I should have been seriously taking items out and in my head creating a tally of what exactly I was getting, what condition of what I was getting that it was in, and basically a ballpark range of what I was willing to pay for that. I just saw that it was all this Fisher Price stuff, and I just started grouping it up. And then I asked the gentleman to get me, what the pricing was before I started taking these things to go upstairs and pay for it. And we got into this whole, back and forth about it being a group pricing, and the woman who runs the estate sales, who does all the pricing, came down, and she just started adding everything up on her phone. She just started, doing different things. And part of my problem was I should have stopped her and asked at the time, like, what exactly was she affixing for a price to the different items? And I was not. And she got to the end of all of this, and she just says, that'll be $275. And I knew in my heart of hearts, I knew that was too much money. And I said, okay, well, can you give me an idea, like, what pricing you were using? So if I put some stuff back, I can figure out, like, what it is I'm putting back. And she went, I would have to add that all up again. Okay, well, I'm not placing blame anywhere in here. But last night when I started to bring my items in, I have mentioned that I do an accounting and I fix a cost to each item as it's getting in the way it would be listed. Meaning, if I'm going to list 4 pieces in this listing, that is one value. If it's going to be this, it's that value. There's some people that will take, and if they buy 10 items and they pay $10, they just charge $1 an item. I've not done that because I've mentioned before that I am trying to train my brain that when it's seeing certain items, what the pricing of certain items would be. So in my head, I do know and recognize that complete or nearly complete sets of Fisher Price people would be between $50 and $100. You have the outliers, which is the castle or like the hospital collection, but for the most part, these other ones with the building and the pieces and stuff would be in that range. Well, had I gone back through, I would have seen that these items were not necessarily optimal. They were not. They were dirty. The plastic was having faded. Like the one train had duct tape all on the top. It had been like smashed. So there was other things, like she had thrown in this Kermit the Frog, and it was like, I didn't intend to take Kermit the Frog. She threw in this train tracks, because, oh, you're getting this train, the train tracks aren't part of what I got. So had I gone through, made the lot of what exactly I wanted before she got into the calculations, that would have been a benefit. Or had I stopped her as she was adding stuff up, I could have been like, oh no, I'm not, I'm not taking. I could have resolved some of it in that fashion. Two, when she did the part, I'm going to share some very personal things for myself. And one item is that I don't negotiate well. And most people's reaction to that would be, well, you just need to practice. Well, the reality is, and getting into the personal and psychological stuff, is that it has been ingrained into me that I need to keep the peace, or just bite my tongue, or not cause waves, whatever cliche you want to add to that. My upbringing was that I was the one to not create a problem. I was supposed to just roll along with everything, and I've had to recognize these things later in life. And I can practice negotiation all I want, but when if I don't get to the root cause of what some of my issues are, I'm never going to overcome them. And I say these things not to make it so about me, but I bring this up to try to encourage you, not discourage you, that there are some fears and things that you may be looking at that is holding you back. And I'm going to just be real in that the fear never goes away. There's always going to be another problem. You're not going to solve everything up front. You just need to do it and face each problem when it comes, and then find a solution for that one to get to the next one. And if you find that you're making the same mistakes, then it's because there's some other issue that maybe you haven't kind of recognized yet. And my recognition is that I don't want to create controversy. So when she did the nothing against her personal, but that became me and my defenses saying, oh, I caved, because I knew, Kristen, you're being a problem. So how I have to understand is I have to start by recognizing that that's what happened. So when I'm facing these problems again, and it's going to happen in this kind of a business because of how I make purchases of sorts. So I have to understand and give myself the pep talk as soon as it happens. Now I can recognize what it is and say to myself, Kristen, I'm allowed to have an opinion. I'm allowed to verbalize my opinion. I'm allowed to act on my opinion, because I have to be defensive of my resources. This is my time, this is my money, and it's not just the time of me being there, but now I've had that stuff in my car, I've had to bring it into the house, I've had to inventory the stuff. There's a lot of investment, and it's not just that. This was a $50 day between gas getting there and back, tolls, but then the other part I didn't share was the other problems that came up in looking at this, and it's elementary stuff, was, for one, I only had $60 in cash on me, and that was the budget I kind of had given myself, and it was $305. So I gave her the 60, and then she was going to run my debit card. Well, whether it's a debit card, credit card, they charge a 5% fee. Now, I know some people would be like, well, that's just part of doing business. She should absorb that. Or, like that's more than it should be. It is what it is. I knew the 5%. I made my decision on that. We're both business people, and I made the decision. But with $300 minus the 60, it was $240. I was still paying about $15 in a convenience fee, is really what that is. And when she told me the amount, it ended in a 7. I don't know what math anybody does, but a 5 into 5s and 0s don't have a 7 in a result. So I don't know how that came about. I could have questioned her at that point, and I should have questioned her to give me the breakdown. And then the other thing was, she ran my card and she just said, okay, do you want a receipt? And I said, I do. I mean, I for booking purpose, I do need one. And she said, okay, it'll be text to you. I didn't give her my phone number, and to this minute, I still have not gotten that text. And when I made my trips back and forth, I should have stopped myself and said, that text is not here, and stopped her, even though it would have caused a problem for her, which would have been reflected to me because I was being the problem. But there are certain business practices, regardless of who's making rules and what you're doing. Getting a receipt is one. Getting to understand what your cost is of items is also a benefit. Is nobody can argue for that one. And I should have stopped it way earlier. So now, where am I at? So now I'm into it. I had to allocate, as I said, to each item, and now I'm going to have a plan, and I will share my plan in the next minute. So here's all my stuff laid out from this estate sale that I need to be fired after going from. So I did start grouping up according to what building is what building. I have a boatload on my desk of the figures, because that is another thing I have to go through. But what my plan or thinking is, like I was trying to show you, I was going to show you like here is the, how would I miss that? The duct tape on this smashed train. Like here with the total pole being missed out. All of this is just what I'm assuming is garbage. I mean, like, this was something that was teether when I was a baby. This is what I'm saying. This stuff is, well used. This one isn't bad, but like this. Come on. So, you know, like this stuff is looking better on here than it actually is in person. Like, look at that. So I think what I may do, like this I'll probably keep as a full. This was like something I did not want. I think what I'm going to do to try to get the most out of this is start parting this out. I know that there's parts in here, like the ladder piece in this, I believe when I looked it up was selling for between 20 and 25. So I think if I start parting this out, I'm going to get more money. This is a smaller item, but something like this and this is not going to be easy for my husband shipping. So what I think I may do is I may take these bigger components out of this equation and sell them on Facebook Marketplace myself. Sell the buildings for maybe $5 to $10 a piece, and then like I said, just sell the different components. Maybe put 2 of the suitcases together and sell them off. Sell the figures themselves in the garage. I know the 4 cars are desirable if you have all 4 colors, so maybe put all them in one lot. Sell the lift itself. Here is these pool toys, and again, I don't know. These are some things I found in the box that I'm going to try and salvage to see if that's worthwhile. If not, they may be going in this box here, which is the donate / throw out stuff. So that's what I'm thinking is my plan for right now, is for me to just make the most. I can tell you These pieces here, I looked them up. I believe I can get, because this is the oldest. This is the straight body pieces. These are in very good condition with the facial features and stuff. I think these are going to be between $30 and $40 alone. But here's, like I said, all of the regular people. I know the panhandle ones are, he's worth more, but like I said, here we go. You know, here's like the dog with it. So I'm going to go through and see how I can group up. I have some things like this. I don't really know. This looks like it may be like a Duplo Lego. I don't know. Him I looked up. He's really not worthwhile. He's only worth $2 or $3. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of him to group up. But like him, there's no tail. So I may just group up what I can, and I think I can, like I said, at least make my money back and hopefully get a profit. So that is the plan. So I'm hoping you are liking this content. I don't know if I showed the angel that I got. That was the homemade angel. I know that the Afghan, I don't know if I showed the Afghan in my video of what I got, and I think the Afghan's going to be able to carry a big part of this, thankfully. My son is claiming some of the fish in the box up there, so I do want to go through that and see what he wants. But for the rest of these other pieces, I think that's my plan. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm hoping you're liking this content. I hope it's helping and encouraging you to just keep going. And if you haven't tried this, this is not the end of the world. This is not, you know, to me, I'm not feeling that it's bad. I'm not saying it was one of my best home runs, but I think there's enough to salvage. There's a piece, this is Adventure People. I have a few other figures. I'm figuring I can get 20, 25. So we'll see. I would appreciate if you subscribe down below. It'll help me grow the channel, and it would help put my future videos in your feed. And I would definitely appreciate a thumbs up if you're getting some good content, if you find this content to be good for you. And I really, really appreciate you watching, and I'll say goodbye for now. See you in the next one.